My name is Uko George, and I'm a data analytics and automation engineer, but with a background that cuts across different industry vertical. Now, let me attempt the question. The first one says, "What's your story and what shaped your path?" Then, now, I would say that back in 2020, 2013, when I was a business development manager for a franchise outlet or a retail outlet, which was a brick and mortar store, and I was responsible for building, setting up franchise outlets in certain part of the country. Now, that I did, but it was when e-commerce was becoming a boom in the country. E-commerce was literally new, and I quickly spot the future, and I did a presentation before management, advising management to go into e-commerce aside the brick and mortar stores we had across the region, but we should also invest in e-commerce because I saw the trend. But management didn't believe in it because they felt it was too early to go into e-commerce. So I had the nudge, so I went ahead and built an e-store for myself, and I got traction, and then I built a business around it. However, I got serious competition from my former employers and the big players within the industry who tried to stifle me out of business. But however, I ran the business for about 3.5 years and finally nosedive due to economic depression in my country as a result of the local exchange rate, the naira to the dollar. So the business crashed. But it was a learning curve for me because I think it built in me the culture of taking ownership. Aside the fact the things that I learned during the business in the face of the business, even though it crashed, it was a learning curve. I learned how to take ownership. I learned the ability to think as a owner. Now I could see from the perspective of an owner, and I can as well see from the perspective of an employee. So it gives me a well-rounded experience of broaden my prism where I can view things from the angle of an entrepreneur, the owner mindset, and as well as an employee. So I take responsibility and I am accountable and I take responsibility for anything that is within my space and within my domain. Now, the second question says, if you had this role tomorrow, what would you do in the first 30 days? Now, the first 30 days, I think, for this role would be, first of all, to try to understand the ecosystem by shadowing the co founders to get to understand um, how they take decisions, what are their priorities, and yeah, how they take decisions and what are their priorities. So I get myself familiar by joining meetings, observing the entire workflow, how decision is being taken, and what is priority to the co-founders or to the founders. And then the next thing would be to maybe map out what I've learned and see how to identify frictions and gaps and opportunity or missed opportunities within the workflow, and then maybe build a lightweight system for a quick win, a lightweight system to fill in those gaps within a short period of time. But the major objective would be to come up with understand the entire work environment, understand the entire business, the different verticals within the business, and then map out a roadmap for maybe a 3 to 6 months roadmap where I can be able to deliver effectively and make sure that my impact is fully felt. Now, the third one says, what where should okay, what have you shipped or fixed? I did mention during the application stage that it was my first time of working in the gaming, the multi-gaming environment, and this particular project was supposed to be on low budget. It was a low budget, slim budget, and the task before the team was to ensure that we use reverse engineering to only build functions that we could validate that could add value to the system. So what we did as a team was to map out the entire system, look at different functions that we built into the team, into the game. But my responsibility was to come up with assumptions and test these assumptions. So it was more like testing from beginning to the end. So I built a set of assumptions that would validate whether any particular function that the developers built um, will add value to the game. So if it doesn't add value to the game, we don't build. So I built an end-to-end ETL system from from plugged it into the game console with the developers and streamed data, raw data for insights where we could see exactly how different functions and gameplay was performing, and then we could now say that yes, we should invest in building this game or building these particular functions into the game, and it turned out pretty well, I would say. So that's my story. Thank you.